Whoa, what it do, what it do, what it do. Welcome to another episode of what? Heavy Talk. I know y'all used to us being in the studio, but we not. We are traveled men. We are traveling amongst the world this week, but we still gonna give you what we give you because we said we would do that. My name is Dwayne Big Heavy, Big Daddy. You know what it is, Thompson. I'm in the building with none other than my guy. Nephew is in the building. Your nephew is definitely in the building. Nephew gonna pop up and holler at the people. There he is. Nephew
Yeah.
is in the building. Yeah, it's another fun week, man. Listen, I need you to sit back, grab your popcorn, relax, because we got one for you, man. I am more than honored, man, to bring you our guest this week. None other than my real guy, man. He's a good guy. He's a fun guy. We've been talking and jam ever since I had a chance to meet him. His name is Bo. Last name Dacious, or y'all might just call him Bo Dacious. Comedian extraordinaire. Welcome him to the show. Now, if you put Mr. Bo on, there you go. Bring him up for me. Bring him up. What is do? What you do, Bo? How you doing, sir?
I'm good, brother. How y'all doing, man?
Man, we're wonderful. We want to say, first of all, thank you for visiting Heavy Talk, the podcast, where we get real, we get down, and we just do what we do, and we bring them to talk real heavy. But, man, like
Yes,
we want to really break this thing down before we get too deep into whatever. Just introduce yourself to the world, let them know how to find you and how long you've been doing this thing. Because sometimes people see folks and they think they've even just jumped off the porch. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
let them know
They
how long
say,
you've been doing, where you come from, the city you hail from, if you don't
yeah,
mind telling where you come from. And let's just get into this thing, man. Let them know who you are.
they see the finished product and think that it was always like that. But I've been in the game 30 years, man. This past April, picked up that microphone back in '95 and started slanging these jokes, man. So yeah, I came right out the mud. I got I got caught with a considerable amount of cocaine when I was a young man, and you know, my my Nino Brown dreams went out the window. So I started following my Eddie Murphy dreams.
So
So
you had two sets of dreams, huh? Yes,
yeah,
them
I
dreams.
wanted to be
They got
Nino
Paul
Brown.
Thomas dreams.
Hey,
I
even
was
though I'm a
like,
light
wait a
skinned
minute.
cat, even though I look more like Kareem, the dude he stabbed in the hand, I wanted to be Nino. So
That's crazy.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I was doing
You
that. I
said,
was good at it too until I wasn't. So
Well,
um
that's how that usually go. You're great at it until you get caught.
oh yeah,
yeah.
Not so
absolutely,
great at it.
absolutely. But I was always good at making fun of people because I was always made fun of when I was a kid. So I had to get good at it. Um
Yeah.
I was
So
sent
where
home
you
a
say as
lot
a kid?
crying. Huh?
You say as a kid. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in a place called Norfolk, Virginia, man. I
Okay.
grew up right down the street from Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but world class boxer, Olympic champion, and all that. We grew up in the same area as Pusha T, the Clips, and Pharrell, and Missy, and Timberland, and Mike Vick, and yeah, it's a lot of talent in my area, man.
Hmm.
Yeah. They got a lot of talent from that area. I've been hearing a lot of that Norfolk, Virginia, a lot in a lot of different spaces.
Yes,
So you
sir.
said so since you threw it out there, you said so when you got caught, did you did any time? How long were you in, and then what made
Nah,
you
it
try
was
to
my
go to
first
divert to
charge,
this?
man. Yeah, I was 19. It was my first charge, so I didn't. I only did 6 hours in the bullpen, probably something like that. But I decided that was a place that I didn't want to be at. So, and plus, if I didn't have one of them praying grandmas, man, you know how that go. If I didn't have one of, if I didn't have one of them that was always had my best interest in mind and looked after me more than anybody, that grandma's unconditional love. If I didn't have all that, I probably would have continued on that path, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't break her heart no more. So
Yeah, I know
changed
that
my
story
life.
all too well. Yeah, I
Oh
know that
yeah.
story all too well. And at least, you're saying you did 6 hours in bullpen, but at least you got an understanding of what it was
Oh
within
yeah.
them six. Because sometimes you do them six and you come out and you feel like, they can't hold you. So you go right back to doing what you do till you get that long Joe. I know me personally. I'm glad. I'm glad you changed your mind. I'm glad you got into this comic side of it because that's how you and I met. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I just I enjoyed the show from beginning to end. Had been following you for a minute. Got to see you live. Got the opportunity to meet you. and continue to conversate with you and become acquainted with you. You know, but I really want
Yeah.
to kind of tell them where they can go find your stuff. 30 years, you got a lot of stuff out there probably. So, tell them where they can go find some of your stuff at, and then we're gonna get into some other things about this comic thing, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I got a pretty decent presence online. I'm on Instagram. Well, usually you can just find me on Instagram. I got some stuff on YouTube, but Bo last name, those three words right there. Bolastname. Bo last name. If you put that in, you can find my Instagram page. And YouTube is Bo last name Dacious at YouTube. So I ain't got a whole lot of stuff on YouTube because dudes be stealing, and I'm trying to preserve what I got until I'm introduced to the world. I'm still kind of flying under the radar, but those who know know.
Yes, sir. Nephew, you got something on that?
I got a question because you brought it up, and I gotta ask. So I know a lot of comedians when they seen the Cat Williams thing over on the Shay Shay Club, and you mentioned it as far as stealing jokes and things like that. You sound like someone that actually had that type of experience done on them before.
Yeah.
And if so, is it that commonplace? And how do you navigate through that?
Well, yeah, of course it's common because it's easy. People underestimate how difficult stand-up comedy is, man. It's very hard to come up with new material and just not just new material, good material. So, when you're curating these jokes and perfecting them and traveling the country and making them absolutely perfect for the audiences that I get to see on a weekly basis, it's easy for somebody to just hear it and be like, "Oh, I'm taking that." You know what I mean? It's easy to do that. And it ain't just, the up and coming guys doing that, man. It's well-known names and stars that, I've had a couple people. I got a couple of my jokes on dudes specials right now, and I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, it's I've dealt with that. And I've also, when I first started, when I was a young comic, I didn't understand the game. And I thought that my primary job was just to be funny and not creative. So yeah, when I first started, I took some of those Def Jam jokes and was trying to tell them in front of people. And somebody pulled me to the side and was like, "Hey, man, that's not how you do it." As a comedian, you got to develop your own style, your own act, and all that. And if people dig you, then you're gonna come out how you're gonna come out.
So let me ask you this, Bo. With the name of our podcast is Heavy Talk, right? So I want to just get real heavy right quick with the sensitivity of all the folks in the world right now. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's sensitive. You can't joke about this. You can't say about that one. I'm gonna sue you. I want to cancel you. How do you maneuver through those times, and how do you continue to still do what you do? Make jokes that's funny to people, but somebody says offensive to me. Somebody, handicap jokes, bad jokes, different things that used to be okay because everybody understood it was just comedy is now not is frowned upon per se. So how do you as a comedian work through that part of it?
Well, I'm fortunate, man, because I'm still in a position where I'm opening for one. You seen me with DL Hughley a couple times, so I travel with him, and I don't really have to watch what I say because I'm not the one selling the tickets. You know what I mean? Like I say that a lot. I was like, y'all can't cancel me because I ain't been subscribed to. That's the line I hit them with. I'm just the opener. So, I'm fortunate in that aspect that I can pretty much say whatever the hell I want. But, with that being said, there's certain topics that I've never, had a desire to touch on that I just thought were just too racy or they were just taboo or sacrilege or whatever. Like I'll never consider doing, a rape joke or because there's nothing funny about rape.
Okay.
And I've never done jokes about, sick shit, like sick stuff like touching little boys and stuff like that. Like it's certain topics that I will avoid just because, I'm a Christian man first before I'm a comedian. But far as the sensitivity and all that, it is what it is, man. You got to adapt. And, I'm going to push the envelope, but I'm not going to push it over the edge, per se. So I
And I
definitely hit them
understand it.
hard, and I make a lot of people mad, but, the truth tends to do that.
And that's true. That's what I was saying. Like I get what you're saying, going to the extreme, but it's so touchy now that
It is,
you can't,
man.
you can't even put your hand on the. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like you put your hand on the envelope there. Oh, don't you say nothing about me or my daughter. And then you have these hecklers in the audience. So give me a example of maybe your worst heckling or how you handle those people who sit in the audience and think they're funny, the comedians sometimes, and then don't realize you got the microphone. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't win this battle for real. But give us one of them stories if you don't mind.
Well, again, I've been fortunate, man, because I don't really come off as being somebody you should F with. Like I'm 6'4", and I got an imposing frame, if you will. And, once I open my mouth and start talking, man, I don't come off as just being some clown or something like it, because I'm far from that. I tell the truth in a very humorous way. And I don't come off as just being some jester or some clown or something that you can just, talk back to. So I just been fortunate, man. I've had a heckler, every once in a while or whatever, but listen, man, I'm a cold-blooded assassin. And if somebody say something, I'm not only gonna shut them down, I'm gonna assassinate the whole table. So that's just I go for the jugular vein, man. Like I hurt feelings. So, once
And
they
I've
see
seen
all
it.
that, yeah, they ain't gonna bother me, man. So I just been fortunate to not have to deal with that.
And for those who don't know you, man, you really laid back right now with your hat on and your t-shirt. That style, that cold-blooded style of dress you have, man. Is that just something that was in you? Is that grandpa? Is that old school? Is it you was pimping for pimping was pimping? Or what was you, boy? You made me step my game up in the dressing room. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
man,
Like, where you get that from?
big brothers got to do that, man, because women love a big man dressed up and smelling nice and all that. We do it better than them little cats. But you know, honestly, man, when I first started traveling with DL back in 2010, 2011, I was just a t-shirt, jeans, and Yankee hat type of guy because I wasn't too far removed from the streets, and I like to dress like that. So I've always looked at myself as somebody that dressed well, but I looked at guys that wore suits and all that, and this kind of came off to me as being a square. So I never had a desire to put on suits and all that. But I remember the road manager at the time pulled me to the side, and he was like, "Bo, you a big, good looking guy, and you should try to put a suit on and see how you feel and how you look in it, because I feel like you could pull it off. And plus, you coming out here with a t-shirt and a Yankee hat on in front of one of the Kings is a little bit disrespectful." So, he put it in that capacity, and I kind of understood what he was saying, that, DL come out, man, he be sharp. So he was like, "Look, just try it, try a blazer, step your game up a little bit." So I eased my way into it. But once I got in, I was like, I'm gonna go all the way. So
I just want to tell you hit a home run, bro. I'm telling you.
thank you, man. It was a
I don't know who
process.
I don't know where you're picking them up at and who dressing you now. But yeah, you stepped into the game and you stepped the game up really, really well, man. And
Appreciate it.
so if you don't mind getting into the family side of this thing, man, and how we talked about this in our music month last week about the balance, man. How do you continue to balance family, scheduling? How do you choose? Well, you opening now, but still you have to choose where you feel like you want to go, those things that you want to do. We know every bag ain't a good bag, every place ain't a good place.
Right.
And this thing you talk about people taking your jokes, but even in that, let's talk about some of the bad promoters and you know what I'm saying, people who don't handle business like it should be handled, and how you deal with those type things.
Well, I've dealt with janky promoters a lot, man. And I'll harken back to this. I'm very fortunate, because traveling with DL, he sheltered me, man, from a lot of that stuff. But occasionally I go out on my own and headline these venues myself because they've seen me, they know what I do, and they know I can come back and get the job done. So yeah, I've went out on my own and I've been taken advantage of sometimes and almost had to do some gangster shit. But that's not what I want to do. And it was just like it hasn't even been a year ago that I went to St. Louis and this girl still owed me like $1,500. But she's a girl. I couldn't beat her up. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of like I'm stuck. And if I take her to court, it's gonna cost me more than 1,500 to get that 1,500.
Yeah.
So, now I just move differently, man. I used to be like, hey, give me half my paper up front and fly me out, give me a room and all that, and then pay me the other half once I get off stage. That was kind of like the common practice of mine for a long time. But now you got to pay me every dime before I even bless the mic.
Yeah. Before I even step on the stage. Because now, see,
Yeah,
I've been in the music business and I know promoters that are, that'll dip. They'll dip at the end.
that's what
You
she
be looking
did.
for them. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't mind losing half. But if it ain't
Yep.
go as fast as they like or they ain't sell as many tickets as they thought they would sell or they gave away more than they should have, they want you to eat that or they want to all of a sudden do a rebargain at the end. I'm here.
Not at all.
So yeah, I
Not
get
at all.
that, and they feel like you might burn them, but like no, I'm here. I've showed up, but before I even say hello, I need that taken care of right now.
See, here's the golden rule. If you're gonna be a promoter, man, you can't be relying on ticket sales to pay the artist. If you ain't got the bread to pay the artist before you even have this event, then you shouldn't be promoting.
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb to go by.
Yeah, if
But
I ain't got the money to pay everybody right now, I don't need to be trying to see if I can sell enough tickets. No, because you robbing Peter to pay Paul, man. You can't play with people's livelihoods like that. Somebody go upside your head.
But we do know we're gonna continue to pray for them because there's a lot of them out here because they think that's how it goes. Nobody's pulling them to the side and telling them, that ain't how it goes. I know people who open businesses and they have to make money the first night they open because they didn't put all their money. They have no operating capital. They have no
Yep.
investors. And that's not the way to go, man. If you can't pay for it up front,
Yep.
win, lose, or draw, you shouldn't be doing it.
Even if you go broke, making sure everybody's taken care of, that's your job as a promoter.
Yeah, because that's a chance you take as a
Yep.
promoter, as an entrepreneur, as an investor. You ain't gonna always win, but
And
you don't.
but when you do win, you win big. And when you lose big. That's the rule of thumb when you're a promoter. So you got to be able to take them bumps, man.
Yeah. So, any cats, any dogs, any kids? It's just you. How we doing out
Nah,
there?
no cats or dogs, man. I ain't no animal lover. I mean, I don't hate them either, but I'm just not. I don't need them in my space.
You
It's
like
just
you like me?
yeah.
Yeah.
I got my kids grown, man. Like I got I got twin boys. They're 23, and my daughter 32, and
Okay.
one of my boys just graduated from college last month.
Congrats.
And I'm super proud of him, man, because he on the spectrum and all that. Like he got Asperger's, so to watch him walk across that stage with his diploma, man, it made me well up. You know what I mean? Like I cried
Proud
a little
daddy.
while behind that.
Yeah, proud
Huh?
daddy moment, and we
Oh,
get to have
absolutely.
them, man. And speaking of proud daddy moments, how was the Father's Day?
Father's Day is Father's Day. They don't give a damn about us.
That's so dirty.
I wanted you to be the one to say it, but I
Hey, it is what it
understand.
is, man.
It
Hey,
is what it is,
when
man.
it comes to them, as soon as it's time for Mother's Day, a day after Christmas, you start hearing every kiss begins with Cain. With us, they getting us a tie or some barbecue sauce or something. They don't care about us.
Hold on, but did your folks at least ask you what you wanted for Father's Day?
Nah, not at all. Not at all.
You
I
talking to a
tried to
man
keep
with
it
no
there.
kids. You talking to one with no kids. That's his
Hey,
problem over there. He ain't got
if
no
we get
kids.
a happy Father's Day, we got to take that and keep it moving.
If you trying to make kids so that you think you're gonna have a holiday, forget it, buddy. But
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, sir. But speaking of sauce, barbecue sauce, speaking of seasoning, you know what I'm saying? Here's that
That's why
cheap.
I threw that in there.
Let's,
Good little segue.
let's talk about
I'm trying to juggle your memory a little bit.
let's talk about one we know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a sauce that you got when you came through the Birmingham, and a seasoning by a guy we both know. So why don't you give him a little shameless plug on our platform and tell us what you thought about that Big
Hey
Daddy
man,
Shaking Rubbing that Big Daddy sauce.
I wouldn't check my mailbox today, and I was broken hearted. It wasn't in there. But look, y'all got to dig this, man. This man here, Dwayne, Big Wayne. I ain't gonna call him man Big Daddy because it's just I gotta pause that. But yeah, I ain't finna call another man Big Daddy, and I sure as
I got
hope I sure as hell he'll call me bodacious.
you. Yeah.
so,
Hold on. We
so
said this on the last show. I was like, I gotta call you Big D. I gotta explain it too much for you, Big Daddy. I can't do that.
yeah, and
Yeah, he said my name
I ain't
Big
calling
D.
him Big D either. Big
That might be
Dwayne.
misconstrued. No Diddy. You gotta make sure the D
No
is for
did.
the way.
No did.
Got it.
Yeah, but that look, man, that for those of y'all who listening, that man's serious about his business now. That seasoning and that sauce, it's on point. And
and,
I've been getting
and
at him every time
I
I run
appreciate
out. I hit him up. I'd be like, "Hey, man, I hate to just contact you and not say hi, but I need some of that."
and we appreciate that. And I want to tell you, as a sauce, as an entrepreneur, as a season manufacturer, I mean, I appreciate you because you don't know how many times we go places, we try to give, everybody who come into the city, a taste of the sauce, taste of the season, and people will tell you, man, I'm gonna go use I'm gonna go try it. And even if they go try it, they won't say anything about it. They won't make videos. They
Nah,
won't
I made a
about it.
video, Jack, because it's
No,
official. Yeah,
you
it's
stood up
official.
on that and you went home and you did what you said you was gonna do. And we really, really, truly appreciate that, man. And we appreciate you because you didn't do it for that. You did it because you really liked that. And
I
that was
did it
that
because I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah.
that was heartfelt, man. So let's run it. Are you doing any tours right now? You got any upcoming special anything we need to be on the lookout for? You know what I'm saying?
Man, for me, it ain't no tour. I head out Friday and I come home Monday every week. So, sometimes it's heading out Thursday and come home Monday. But yeah, I'm doing, you know, 4 to 6 shows every weekend, man. And it's not a tour, it's just work. Because
It just worked.
a tour will eventually come to an end.
Yes,
You
sir.
know what I mean? But work is forever.
Yeah,
And to be a working comedian, especially in this climate, man, it's a superior blessing. Because some of the funniest men I know can't even pay their cell phone bill.
yeah. That's real talk. And like I said, working every weekend is a blessing, man. And
Oh yeah,
and the fact that it's work, that also tells people, lets people know that you're doing something right and you're doing something that people, because when people call you back or when people call and look for you or when people book you, you know what I'm saying? That means that something you're doing somewhere you're being seen. Because as an entrepreneur, sometimes I always have these moments of, am I doing this right? Am I doing the right thing? Um, People who's gonna hear about it, who's gonna hear about it, but it's about the continued work and making things, come across the way that they need to come across. So
yeah.
we're gonna segue into something right quick. Sports. Let's get into these sports, man. Are you a big sports fan?
Not all the way around because I don't really watch baseball until October, man. Because
That's me. It's 100
baseball
something
boring.
game. Catch
It's
me at
boring to me, man.
the
Yeah,
catch
once
me
I
at
get to
the
October now, I'll start paying attention and
Yes,
I'll
sir.
start watching games in full. But basketball, you know, I was a diehard Bullets fan for a long time, but you know, the front office for the Bullets were just horrible, and as the Wizards, they're still horrible. So I just don't root for them no more.
Okay.
So I'm just a basketball fan. I just watch everybody, and it's a couple players that I really like, and I'll follow them. But as far as having a team, no. Now, I am a diehard Chiefs fan, and I've been a Kansas City Chiefs fan my whole life. So the
Okay.
fact that we started winning, 6, 7 years ago and started being the bad guy, I kind of embraced all that, man. Because I've been used to losing since I've been rooting for them my whole life. So I'll be the bad guy. I see how the Patriots fans feels now.
You got any call on this final that's going on now? You got any calls on the finals?
I'm a hoops fan, so I've been watching, man. But I know this ain't the series America want to watch. I'm pretty sure the ratings are in the toilet. But it's a damn good finals, man. Like
Really,
you
really
got
good.
good. It's a very good finals because you got two long athletic teams going at it. They can shoot, but OKC just got more horses, man. And last night I looked at that game and I was like, this it's over because I definitely don't see the Pacers beating them two straight. I don't see it.
Yeah, so you think it's 6 or 7?
I think it's over in 6, man. If it go to 7, I wouldn't be shocked because the Pacers, man, look, the Pacers are a great team, man. It's just they up against it.
Listen, I watched the
They
game.
up
I
against it.
watched the game 3 games ago, and I was tired when they got through play. I was sitting I was sitting on the sofa going, how could they? You know, what I'm saying, them young guns is youngin. They run.
Man. One of them
They
Pacers
run,
touch the ball, they be swarming, man. I mean,
man.
it's like a school of piranha. I ain't never seen nothing like it.
It's what I'm saying. And they are the second youngest team to ever be in
Yep.
the finals. So they got years to come. Plus, they still got draft picks. Plus, they still got spots. Where you gonna put them? I don't know, but
Not
because
only that,
they bench.
they've lost. Like they've lost the last couple of years. They've been good, but they've lost, and so they've learned from that, man. So yeah, I don't think this year they're gonna be denied. I think they're going home with it.
That's a perfect one, man. That's a perfect one. Well, nephew, what you
I don't
got?
know what to say.
Nephew is my
Yeah,
basketball guy. What you got, nephew?
Look, I don't know what to say. Every time I count them out, they win the game. I think they ain't supposed to be winning, and they do it how they play. So it's like what they have over OKC is the only thing they can't really keep up with anybody. Well, anybody can't really keep up with, and that's their pacing. They pace is stupid, especially when they feel like they want to run it because Halliburton is the best at creating any type of play for you half court. He
Yeah,
one of
but
the
you got
best.
to look at it like this, man. Halliburton, y'all can miss me with that superstar mess because that he ain't had no points, man. Like superstars don't do that.
Oh my
0 points
Say
like
it
that.
loud for the people in the back. Say it loud for
But
the people on the other end.
hold on
That's
now.
God.
He's a clutch player, but it's a big difference from being a clutch player and a
being a
superstar.
superstar.
Now he's facing a superstar because SGA is a superstar,
The truth.
and I don't even really like SGA game except for that mid range. But all that trying to get fouled every time, I hate that. But the boy is amazing. And but Halliburton, you can't be the star of your team and score 0 points, man. That's just not how this works. So and he's hobbled, his calf is strained. It's over, man. It's just over.
Now I will say on that strain, I think that's gonna compromise them if it do come down to it because they don't
That's
have anybody else
significant.
that can really create like he can.
Yeah.
Um, this is what I say. The superstar point, God, dog. Like I think his tiers a superstar. I think he
He's a
on the
star.
superstar bracket because
No,
there's a
he's
lot of
not a
stars
superstar.
that not too
He's a
long ago,
star.
not too
He's
long
a
ago, they didn't
star.
even call SGA a superstar. They had to wait till Buddy got into this MVP season before they even wanted to really dub him a superstar. It
No,
took a
from what
minute
I
for them
see
to
this
dub him.
playoffs, he's a superstar. Because I didn't call SGA a superstar until just recently. That boy
Yeah,
has
and
proven.
I'm like you. I don't really like parts of his game. Like the
Yeah.
fouling thing, I ain't really feeling that. You know what I'm
That
saying?
boy's
Because that give
undeniable,
me
though, Wayne.
that give me
He's
LeBron-ish.
undeniable, man.
But his mid range,
I
anything
ain't
behind
never,
that free throw line,
never seen a mid-range game like that.
I haven't in a long
Stop
time.
it. We seen KD.
No.
Stop it.
KD's mid-range game is amazing, but SGA, it seemed like he just don't miss.
Like he took it to the next level.
He just don't miss.
As far as small ball, I'll say he better than Chris Paul because that was that was his game too. Chris
You
Paul
can't
could get
really
the ball
say
on point.
small ball because he's 6'6" and he long, man.
He long, but I'm just saying small ball position, point guard
Yeah,
or shooting guard.
he's
I can't find no
thin.
other one like him.
Yeah, he's thin, but he's 6'6", man. That boy game is flawless. It's
And
flawless.
he got like that mixture of the James Harden, so I see why y'all don't like him because James
No,
James
it's worse
Harden
than
and
James Harden, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, you got. And see, I watch it from a perspective of I used to coach, right? And so I like the fundamentals of. I don't just watch them for the name. I just watch them for the uniform. When I'm watching the game, I'm watching the game as if a coach is sitting on the side trying to evaluate somebody, right? So I ain't gonna just say somebody did something to say they did something or they this or they that because everybody else is saying it. That's why people get upset with me when I say I'm not a true LeBron fan. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, but I ain't gonna jump on the bandwagon. So I'm watching from what people do as players, what they do, how they act, what
Nah,
they certain
man,
things
I'm a
are.
Bron
And so
fan.
I get
I'm
it.
a
That's
Bron
me.
fan.
Hey, SGA getting fouled. Brian, for me, I love what he do off the court more than I love what he do on the court with Brian.
I mean,
As a
I'm a
person, I
fan
love
of all of that, but all that
him.
flopping, I don't like that either.
That's what I'm
But
see. That's
but
me. I don't like
yeah,
the
I don't like that. But what Bron has done,
for the
man,
game.
look, he's made great decisions, man. He said no. I remember in Cleveland, he sent Wiggins packing. He was like, "Give me Kyrie." He knows what he needs to win, man. When he went to LA, he got a lot of them boys up out of there. He was like, "Just give me AD." He knew what he needed to win one. I'm telling you, the worst decision that man ever made was calling that press conference saying, "I'm taking my talents to Miami." Other than that, his resume is spotless.
I
He
get
makes
it.
good decisions, man.
I'll give you that. But
Ah.
in better news, though, let's talk about. We're gonna segue
I,
to this next one. I see enough, you know. We're gonna segue to my next one. R. Kelly is trying to get
Uh,
man. Kel
this way you
said
segue.
passed out allegedly in his cell. He said he overdosed. He said, "Time for y'all let me come home because I can't take this." So I don't know what the people gonna do, but Kel said enough is enough, and he allegedly is trying to get into the free box because he can't take it no more. He like it's too much in it
well,
for me. You know.
unfortunately, Donald Trump don't listen to bump and grind, so he ain't got no other alternatives but to sit in that cell. he, he would
Oh
not be
my
receiving a pardon. That's the only man that can help him.
You said
that man.
you say him in the
I'm
Milan,
not
you
gonna
don't
lie
listen
to
to
you.
bump and that might be on his playlist. You don't think that's on Donald Trump playlist?
They ain't on his playlist.
I don't know. That might be on his playlist on the Lulu.
Trump ain't stepping in the name of love. He ain't doing none of that.
He
Now
is, he be
Trump
grabbing
and
them though.
Diddy was good friends, and they both been accused of the same. But you look at Kales, man, he touching kids,
I
But
get you.
but Trump and Diddy, they just nasty. So they got something in common.
Man, I'm I I'm with you, but then I'm like, I did this here, buddy. Just grab he like to grab him, and if if he is hanging with Diddy, I'm sure Diddy didn't put him on. I'm sure Diddy
Oh
didn't
yeah,
put him on.
Diddy and Trump was cool, man. I done seen all the pictures. So
Mm-hmm.
if Diddy get canned, I think he might get a pardon. But poor Kales, nah.
But see, and speaking of that, watch this. So we had a conversation today about this. So I think when it comes to we're going back to Diddy, right? Because that's current event, that's current news. But I think that Diddy, I think they wanted him so hard that they reached across the room with some of the wrong charges. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the charges just ain't matching up to a lot of people who are doing or witnessing. But what I do say is this: you have to study your law, man. These laws that we're not paying attention to, these things that we're allowing people to pass while we sit back, they're so
Rico
broad.
laws,
Like
yeah.
tell somebody that you right now, when your dad and your uncle, your grandpa used to run across the courtyard at the college naked, and they call that streaking, right? Wasn't no big deal. But most people don't know now if you streak, you can be classified as a sex offender because it's covered under the sex offender law now. And we
Yep.
sit back and watch these laws get so broad. That's why when they talk about, well, he wasn't trafficking, you better read that trafficking law because the definition of trafficking now is so broad. And it's interstate prostitution is what they're trying to grab him on now, stuff like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
being a
Well,
freak ain't
here's
against the
the
law.
thing, man. Some people get so much bread they start to feel like they're untouchable. And for a black man, that just doesn't exist. You know, I don't care how much money you got. If these people got this video of you beating on this girl, they can hold that over your head. And you notice that's all it took was for CNN to show that video, and now everything else starts to fall down.
Well, and
So
like they said, Jay-Z said it best, man. I don't care how much you have, they're gonna always remind you that you and that's what they do. They're gonna remind, because no matter how much money you got, they're gonna pick, before they even allow you to make that much money, they're gonna put something in their pocket, something in that yellow envelope to slide to you and remind you, we put you here, we got you here, or we can take you down. So yeah, sometimes people do forget, and he had a lot of money. You feel what I'm saying? And sometimes money gets you cocky, but I personally think, when it's all said and done, you know, when you make people upset who have more money than you, you know what I'm saying? Like that Ciroc deal really, really put him like in some people's crosshairs that they didn't care about, they didn't really care for. And see, a lot of people don't keep up with things like that, but that's on them billion dollar type levels, right? And you can't just make them man and think you're gonna walk away from them.
Thing is, man, when you got a whole lot to lose, you got to move that way. You know, you can't be. And I remember I was told that when I was a young 16-year-old crack slinger. I had an old man pull me to the side, and he had no vested interest in what I was doing. But he saw all those ignorant YNs that I was hanging with. And I remember he told me, he said, man, you out here doing wrong. He said, when you're doing wrong, you got to treat people as good as you can possibly treat them. Because if you out here mistreating people, you don't know who the hell gonna go back and tell on you.
This is true. So and I like what you said just now. So let's go double all the way back down. Somebody pulled you on the side. Somebody told you something when you was, out there in the streets, right? But on this side of it, if you could pull a young comedian, or you could pull a up and coming on the side and give them some game, some wisdom, right? What would you say to somebody trying to be up and coming in the game so that they can have some longevity, first of all, and so that they can handle their business right? What would you say to that person that's up and coming?
Oh, that's heavy. I would definitely tell them to believe in what they're doing and to curate it and to work on it and stop being so preoccupied with trying to come out with brand new, fresh material, because it takes long to work on material, man. You know, when you're a comedian, you got to see what works, and you got to throw a lot of stuff out there and see what sticks to the wall. And you have to do this stuff over and over and over again until it becomes perfection. You know, and that's something. It's a crock pot process. It's not microwave, man. This thing we do called stand-up comedy, you can't just throw it in the microwave and come out being great. You got to throw something in the crock pot and let it set, simmer, and let that seasoning go through them bones, man. It's a process. You know, and one thing about being a comedian, you ain't gonna skip the process. You got to work on it. It can take you a long time to develop, an hour worth of material. You know, these dudes think they're gonna hop in just because somebody told them you should be a comedian or because they funny. It's a difference between a funny person and a comedian. I know a lot of funny people. I know people that I grew up with that are 10 times funnier than me, but they can't do what I do because you got to have that 10,000 hours, man. And that's where anything that you want to be great at, you got to put that 10,000 hours in. So I would tell a young comedian coming up who really wants to be great, because if he don't want to be a great comedian, first of all, he wasting my time. And I don't cast my pearls before swine. You dig? So you're gonna put them 10,000 hours in, or I ain't got no pearls of wisdom for you.
So let me ask you this, Bo. There's a really big trend that's set right now, right? Where people are, as you say, being funny, creating funny skits, becoming relevant on these social media platforms,
Right.
the TikTok, this, that, and all of a sudden now they think they can go and run to the stage or do these tours, and finding out that real life is different from TikTok life. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because you got a minute skit that was hella funny, right? Made
Right.
everybody laugh. You dig what I'm saying? It was kind of real life incidents, but it don't translate or transition to the stage. How do you feel about those people trying to invade or come across in the comedian world, but they need to kind of just, I ain't gonna say stay in their own lane, but do what they do over there until they put in them hours to get where you are.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this, man. When this whole trend started, maybe 10 plus years ago, I kind of was offended by the whole thing because I started seeing these video cats, get dates that I wasn't getting at comedy clubs because they were doing these videos that were going viral, and that's not stand-up comedy, man. Um, but now it's just you can't blame them cats because they have watched this recipe work, and we're in a monkey see, monkey do society. If I'm coming up and I'm not serious about stand up, I just want to be a funny person, and I see these people doing these skits or whatever, and they're becoming viral, and people are giving them high praise, and also giving them dates and weekends at comedy clubs, man. Why not? So all I know is the cream will rise to the top, man. And when it comes to stand up, I don't care how funny you are. If you go somewhere and you don't have stand up chops, people gonna see right through that, man. And you'll never be invited back to that club ever again because you came and stunk the joint up. So eventually, you have to learn how to be a stand up comic if you're gonna be on the comedy circuit. You might be invited once, maybe twice, if you keep your viral outreach up and people you have a presence online, people gonna always be interested in seeing you. But one thing I know about people in this finicky business that I've been in, they will never forgive you for not being funny.
They won't forgive you. They,
They will
they,
never. If somebody asks them about, man, that's the worst damn comedian I've ever seen in my life, and they will never forgive you for that, man.
I
It
spent
ain't
my money
like
to see him.
it ain't like when you online and you see a video of two people fighting, or not even that they about to fight. Now you locked in because you want to see who gonna get knocked the hell out, and you'll watch this video for 3-4 minutes before a knockout blow or something happens. That's different. When it comes to stand-up comedy, you get on stage, and if you ain't funny in 20 seconds, you are the worst comedian I've ever seen. That's just how this game is, man. It's
Wow.
unforgivable. But if you go up there and you're great, they will always remember you. And they'll sing your name to the high heaven, man.
So Debbie, you got something? Go with it.
Yeah. I got a question real quick.
Mhm.
Um, as far as in the comedy game, because from what it sound like there's different types of what would you say funny. But for other folks, it'd probably be comedian because you'll look at a person like a Country Wayne or maybe a Just Hilarious that blew
Mhm.
up off of social media that
Right,
does tours, or you'll see
right.
a dude like the DC Young Fly, who a lot of folks would probably say is just like a entertainer, but he
Hmm.
also does tours with the podcast and individually, along with
Hmm.
Carlos and Chico and things like that
Right.
from Wilding Out. What
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you was, do comedians that focus on the stand up look at those as not comedians, or do they look at them as just simple entertainers?
Well, first of all, you're a novelty until you prove otherwise, especially if you're dibbling in that genre. Now, as far as the thing that Chico and Carlos and them got, I mean, I know them cats, and they got one of the most successful podcasts in history. So, and all three of them are funny in their own right. Carlos more so because he was a comedian.
Hilarious.
Carlos has been a monster for long as I can remember. He used to do my show before he even had the chin hair. I remember freshly bald faced Carlos. So yeah, he's been a monster for a long time. Chico is a comic too. Yeah, Chico is a comic too. Now DC Young Fly is just he's a funny guy, and he's young and he's got to learn. He's the youngest one out of all of them, so he's learning on the fly. But he has the privilege to do that because of what he's involved with. People will give him, grace because they know that he's feeling his way out in his business. Uh, Jess Hilarious and Country Wayne had to learn, differently because they were stars before they were presented. They didn't become a star being comedians on stage. They built their following and became famous before going on the stage. So they had to take them bumps and them bruises, man. And they had to learn the hard way that nobody gives a damn about your online presence once you get on that stage in front of them. So if you're not a comedian, you got to learn how to be one, or we ain't effing with you no more.
So give me your 3 favorite cities.
Comedically, my 3 favorite cities. I don't know what it is, man, but murderers and drug dealers and killers, they love me. So I don't know what it is, man. Baltimore. I've never had a bad show in Baltimore, man. And I mean, every time I go there, it's like The Wire all over again. Ain't nothing but killers and drug addicts and murderers, and they love me. Cleveland, man, Cleveland loves me. Never had a bad show. Philly is starting to get that way too. Kansas City, I know you sitting there waiting on me to say Atlanta and Miami and that.
No, I was really interested in knowing what because the average city that people come up with aren't always those places because
it's never those.
Too. It's never those. They be on something different, and those big cities like that, they expect. I don't know if it's entitlement or they want people to cater to them.
Yeah, Atlanta is that way.
Or they like what they like. It's like I'm not about to do that with you. But you said something about killers and drugs, different stuff like that, how they like you. Which I know I've seen you on stage, so I know you can handle yourself. But there have been situations where you kind of like you see the room and you feel kind of like, oh, hey, this room might be kind of, you know what I'm saying? Keep security.
Because I came up in that.
Okay.
I came up in that. So when you come from the mud, and you're in front of people who, did the same, they know right away.
Yeah. And
when they say real, recognize real. They can see you right from the beginning.
Yep. Yeah, when you know how to move, it's like you ain't the baddest dude in the room, but the baddest dude in the room, you can see that you ain't the one to play with either. It's like,
man, look, the hardest criminals come up to me. Real. Yeah, the hardest criminals will come up to me after the show and be like, yo, I F's with you. You know what I mean? And that's the highest compliment you can get being someone like myself because they see the realness.
Yeah, I respect that. Yeah, that's a really, really good thing. So let me ask you this: non-comedic, I guess comedic and in your personal life, what's the 2 things on your bucket list? What's your bucket list on comedian, and what's your bucket list on just in life?
Man, I've done just about everything you could possibly do comedically, except maybe headline my own arena or something. But I've been in arenas. I've been in front of 4,000 or 5,000 people and killed it. So all of those fantasies like that, I've already accomplished stuff like that. But I guess, personally, I would like to get the recognition and the bread that I deserve a couple times. You know what I mean? Like that would be nice. But other than that, I'm out here coasting, man. I fulfilled all of my fantasies, and as far as this game is, I never thought that I would even go this far. And now I look up, I'm writing for Kings and writing for a lot of noteworthy comedians, man. I'm getting mailbox money. So I don't even have to go on the road if I don't want. I can go to my mailbox and there's a check in there. So that let me know what kind of bread is in this business.
And so since you touched on that, go ahead. Let me,
No, I was we probably on the same page. I was gonna see. Could you elaborate a little bit on that recognition point?
Well, it's just, you know, in my position, man, and don't get me wrong, I got a lot of people that love what I do, and if I'm somewhere, they'll come see me. But far as the masses, everybody wants to touch the masses, and if you don't, it starts to feel like it's unrecognized greatness, for lack of a better term.
I feel you on that one.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of us feel that. A lot of us feel that. A lot of people love what we do, and they say we're great and they love us, but it's the masses. Like I want more, and you should always feel that way. I'm never gonna be satisfied. I mean, I'm satisfied in the comedian that I am because I know I'm great, and I ain't gonna be humble about that because I got 3 decades in. And the thing is about being a comedian, I ain't no football player or nothing like that. I'm not gonna age out of this. I ain't gonna pop an Achilles and I can't do it no more. I got a CDL license, as far as I'm concerned. I can do this forever. And the older I get, the greater I'm gonna get. The older I get, the more life experiences I have, the greater I will be at this. So I have yet to reach my peak. I'm only 50 years old, man. By the time I get 60, 65, I'm gonna be hateful and I'm gonna have 3 or 4 hours of shit to talk about.
So let me ask you this because I think you said something that a lot of people don't understand. Because I tell people, first of all, I feel you on the recognition because I feel like I'm great at what I do. Right? I'm a great chef. I'm a great cook, but I'm a great sauce maker. I'm a great season maker. But I feel like the masses sometimes just don't understand. They'll tell me, "Oh, this is good," or "This is great. We like that." But here's my question: Is that back room when you just talked about writing and get checks in the mail? Because my dream is, I tell my wife all the time, I wanna make money in my sleep, which
Hmm.
is getting to the mass, getting people to order, getting what I'm saying, mail it out, my product, stuff like that. So can you kind of elaborate on that side of people don't really know that there's a side to this thing where you start writing for uh, other writers, say Saturday Night Live or
Hmm.
movies, different stuff where you can write comedy just like a song or parts of a script, but they'll pay you for your talents.
Yeah, you have to, first of all, someone has to watch you do stand up and know that the things that you say could help them. Your ink pen could help them per se. Um,
Mm.
I think in pictures and my imagination is unreal. And some of the things I say are so off the wall, but it's still real life, man. Like if I break down my act, I don't really have no jokes. I ain't gonna come out and be like, hey, two guys walking the bar. I don't have none of that. All of it is stuff that I've been through, and it's all stuff that we want to talk about. And some people are scared to talk about. So in that regard, I get all of that respect. So somebody has to watch you and be like, man, I would like for him to write from my perspective. And they also sometimes they have to know that you are a writer and that you can write with their voice in your head. So it's an art to that. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely an art. And then, you have to create other streams of income, man. It doesn't matter how great you are at your craft. If you got one job, you're close to being homeless. You know what I mean? Like you got to have other streams because if you got one check coming in, and if something happens to stop that check and you ain't got nothing else coming in, you could definitely be homeless.
That's a good word, man. That's a good word right there. So let me ask you this: we're gonna close down a little bit, but what type of music, man? What's the thing that gets you going? Because every comedian usually comes out on certain songs, certain things like that. But on stage, what gets you crunk? And then when you at the house, like chilling or whatever, what's your vibe at the house?
Man, I'm starting to come out more so to, old R&B records, but I'm still Wu-Tang to the heart. So I might come out on some Isley Brothers or the OJs or something like that, but Wu-Tang is still pumping through my veins. So I got a good mix, man. Like
Yeah,
I can't listen to rap all day like I used to because it's too
it,
much.
it gets in there. I
Yeah,
understand.
I mean, I
It
can't
gets
listen to shooting and robbing when I'm dealing with old dude issues. You know what I mean? Like you can't be sitting there listening to shoot 'em up, bang bang, and you got on compression socks. You know what I mean? Like, so I got a healthy mix of all that.
and that's crazy because I got on my compression socks right now.
Hey, they
So I
work, don't they?
understand.
They work.
So, oh man, Bo, I want to tell you, man, tell them again where to find you online, brother. This has been a wonderful show, bro. I really been trying
Yes,
to hold
sir.
myself because I know you can get real, real serious sometimes.
Oh
I've been
yeah,
holding
yeah,
on,
yeah.
but we appreciate
Um,
you. Tell them how to
yes,
find you.
sir. Likewise, man. Bo last name Dacious. If you type that into Google, you can find pretty much everything I've done. I got some stuff on YouTube, Bo last name Dacious at YouTube. And my IG, I do some reels and all that every once in a while, but I've been trying my best not to become an internet dude. So I don't put a whole lot of stuff out there because I don't want to be regarded as that. I'm a comedian, I'm a stand-up comedian, and that's just what I am. And I ain't gonna never change that. So yeah, Bo last name at IG and my Facebook and all that is Bo last name, Facebook. You can find me, man. I ain't hard to find.
Hey man, I just want to tell you thank you again. We show these on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. I'll send you the YouTube link to it because that is on YouTube is What You Cooking Big Daddy, WHATCHA. I write like I talk. Definitely, I'm in Chicago right now. When I get home, your package will be on the way.
All right.
Wanna we want to just say, man, thank you for taking our time with us. Because just like you said right there, we new to this game, and to have somebody as big as you on our platform means a lot and says a lot to us. We 6 weeks in, bro, and a lot of people don't want to come on your podcast unless you got a million viewers, followers, or this or that, and somebody of
Everybody,
you.
everybody's so preconceived with followers and all that, man. Just be great.
Yeah,
Just keep
bro.
doing exactly what you're doing. Ask the questions that you ask, and keep it moving, man. And I won't be the last. You'll get some people on up there
Hey
once
man,
they
I want
start
to say this
seeing.
to somebody here that you're gonna be in their city. They need to go see you, man, because
Well, the next couple of weeks, well, I'm in LA this weekend, and the weekend after, I'm around them killers. I'm in Kansas City. The 27th or 28th, or it's the 26th or 25th, 20, whatever weekend that
that
is after
weekend,
this weekend.
yes, sir.
But yeah, I got St. Louis coming up, and I can't even remember all the cities. Philly, DC, all that's coming up soon. So if you're in any of those cities, man,
Go see him.
um,
I guarantee you, whatever they asking for the ticket price is worth it, man. Like I say, I'm a huge comedy fan, right? I've listened to
me too.
comedy all my life. I used to host at a nightclub, and I used to do that funny stuff. You know what I'm saying? And my wife be like,
Right,
"Why?" I'm like, "I'm not a comedian. I know I'm not. I'm funny, but I know I'm not
right,
a comedian because I've seen and talked to comedians and seen what it takes, right? So
yeah,
I appreciate the art. I appreciate the craft. But man,
yeah,
when I seen you, it was like, okay, this man is no, he funny and he got the craft down pat. So I'm always gonna pop up whenever you near me, whenever
yes,
you're
sir.
around. If you would get in the dirt early, call me. You know what I'm saying? I'll put on my chef hat for you and make sure you eat well when you're around. But it's much love, much respect. Thanks again for coming, and we're gonna see you when we see you. And for all those who watch Rabbit
Absolutely.
Talk, thank y'all for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next episode. Holla back.